ladies and gentlemen. Today I want to talk to you about something that is as inevitable as it is transformative suffering. There's a truth that many of us have come to know to grow. You must suffer now. That's a hard message to hear, isn't it? Nobody likes the thought of pain or hardship, but I want us to dig deep into what it truly means to embrace suffering as a part of our growth journey. First, let's get one thing straight. Growth does not happen in comfort zones. When everything is easy, we stay where we are, doing what we've always done. Real change, real transformation comes only when we're willing to face challenges, to step out of what's familiar and safe. It's in those moments of hardship that we discover our strength. Painful experiences crack open parts of us that we might not even know existed. They show us what we're truly capable of and push us to evolve. Now, I know that when we're in the middle of suffering, it doesn't feel like a gift. It feels unfair, exhausting, and sometimes it even feels like punishment. But here's the key: suffering is not meant to break us, it's here to build us. It's here to teach us something that ease and comfort never could. Those tough moments, they give us perspective, clarity, and a profound understanding of who we are. The pain may be real, but so is the purpose behind it. And what about resilience? You see, resilience is a muscle that only grows through use. It's through the struggles that we learn how to get back up again and again. Every challenge teaches us something about endurance. Every time we rise from the ashes of disappointment, loss, or failure, we build a little more courage, a little more strength. This resilience doesn't just help us survive, it becomes our superpower. It turns us into warriors for the next challenge that life throws our way. Let's also talk about finding the gift in hardship. Yes, there's a gift. It's not always obvious, and sometimes it takes years to see, but it's there. I want you to think back to a time when you faced something really difficult. At the time, it may have felt unbearable, but look at you now. Look at what you've learned, how you've grown, how much more compassion you have for others who are struggling. Even our deepest wounds can leave us with gifts of wisdom, patience, or empathy that we could never have found otherwise. Finally, remember, this suffering is not here to define you, it's here to transform you. We can choose to let our suffering mold us into wiser, stronger, and more compassionate people. The story of suffering doesn't have to be the last chapter. We get to write our next chapter. We get to decide how we'll use our pain, how we'll let it shape us into better versions of ourselves. Suffering is part of the journey, but it's not the destination. So yes, to grow, you must suffer. But remember, every storm runs out of rain. Every painful chapter comes to an end. And when it does, you'll find yourself stronger, wiser, and more resilient than you ever thought possible. Pain is something we instinctively try to avoid. It's uncomfortable, disorienting, and often leaves us feeling vulnerable. Yet if we're open to it, pain can become a powerful force for change, a true catalyst for growth. Think about it. Pain shakes us up, it disrupts our routines, our comfort zones, and our carefully laid plans. It forces us to confront parts of ourselves we might otherwise ignore. Pain can push us to places we'd never choose to go on our own. But it's in these places where we feel uncertain and even broken that the opportunity for true transformation lies. When we face pain, we're called to let go of control, to surrender our grip on how we thought things should be. It's not easy, but in doing so, we create space for growth, for something new. Pain clears the way. It strips us down to our essence, revealing our raw, authentic selves. It demands that we look inward to assess what truly matters, to ask ourselves tough questions, and to discover what we are genuinely capable of enduring and overcoming. The power of embracing pain as a catalyst for growth lies in our willingness to allow it to teach us. Pain, if we allow it, becomes one of our greatest teachers. It shows us our boundaries, and in some cases, it forces us to stretch beyond them. It challenges us to build resilience, to dig deeper than we ever thought possible, and to find within ourselves a strength we may not have realized was there. When we can look at pain as a companion on our journey, as uncomfortable as that may feel, we open ourselves up to its lessons. We learn not just how to survive, but how to thrive in the midst of adversity. Pain can also clarify our purpose and our values. In times of ease, it's easy to go through the motions, to take things for granted, and to lose sight of our true priorities. But pain shakes us awake. It urges us to evaluate what we truly care about, to identify what we're willing to fight for, and to shed the superficial layers of our lives. It calls on us to align our actions with our values, to pursue our goals with more intensity, and to live more authentically. When we embrace pain, we can transform it into fuel. It's like alchemy, taking something that feels negative and using it to propel us forward. Think about those moments of doubt, those struggles and setbacks. If we choose to see them not as barriers but as stepping stones, they lead us somewhere meaningful. Each painful experience can be reframed as a powerful step toward becoming the person we want to be. It doesn't mean the pain is erased. It means we harness it, we redirect it, we grow because of it. Embracing pain as a catalyst for growth is a choice. It's a decision to look pain in the face, to accept it, and to ask, what can you teach me? How can I use this to make me stronger, wiser, and more compassionate? And over time, as we make this choice again and again, we begin to see that pain can be transformed. It becomes less of an enemy and more of a guide, an unlikely, often unwanted, but ultimately invaluable force on our journey of becoming. In this way, pain stops being something we just endure. It becomes something that we, in a sense, embrace, knowing it's shaping us into something more resilient and beautifully real. Understanding the purpose behind pain requires a shift in perspective, a move from simply feeling the pain to seeking what it's trying to reveal. Pain, in its many forms, is an inseparable part of the human experience. Whether it's physical, emotional, or spiritual, pain touches everyone at some point, and it often leaves us asking why. This question, however, can open the door to a profound understanding of pain's role in our lives. When we experience pain, our immediate reaction is to want it to stop. But if we take a step back, we might start to see pain as a signal, a message that something in our lives needs attention, care, or change. Pain is a force that grabs hold of us, interrupts our routines, and demands our focus. If we are willing to look beyond the discomfort and suffering, we might see that pain often points to areas where we've been neglecting ourselves or compromising our values. It tells us when we're out of balance, when we're ignoring parts of ourselves that need to be nurtured, or when we're holding on too tightly to situations that no longer serve us. Pain also teaches us about our own resilience and inner strength. It's during difficult times that we confront the limits of what we think we can handle, only to discover we're capable of enduring far more than we realized. This isn't something we can learn through ease and comfort. It's only in hardship that we come to understand the depths of our courage and resilience. In this way, pain becomes a mirror reflecting our hidden capacities, the strength we didn't know we had, and the growth that's possible when we're pushed beyond our familiar boundaries. Furthermore, pain is often a powerful clarifier of purpose. During the good times, it's easy to drift along without questioning the direction we're headed. But pain tends to strip away the superficial layers of life and force us to examine what truly matters. When we go through hardship, we're often brought face to face with our core values and priorities. Pain has a way of cutting through distractions, revealing what we hold dear, and pushing us to pursue what genuinely matters. It brings a kind of clarity that's difficult to find in moments of comfort. It invites us to rethink our goals, our relationships, and our choices, helping us to realign with our true purpose. Pain also humbles us, reminding us that life is not entirely in our control. It can bring us to a place of surrender, teaching us that there is a limit to our power, and that sometimes we must let go. This humility, although uncomfortable, is often where growth begins. In letting go, we make room for something new, a new understanding, a new perspective, or a new path forward. Pain teaches us the importance of patience, of accepting that life has its own rhythm, and that sometimes we have to trust in that rhythm, even when it doesn't make sense. On a deeper level, pain can bring us closer to others. When we experience suffering, we gain a greater capacity for empathy and compassion. Pain connects us to a universal human experience, one that reminds us of our shared vulnerability and fragility. This connection helps us understand and support each other in ways we might not have considered otherwise. We become more understanding of others' struggles, more compassionate in our relationships, and more inclined to help those in need. Pain, in this way, broadens our hearts and opens us up to deeper, more authentic relationships with others. Ultimately, understanding the purpose behind pain doesn't mean we enjoy or seek out suffering. Rather, it's about recognizing that pain is not meaningless. It can have profound value in shaping who we are and guiding us on our journey. Pain, though difficult and unwelcome, can be a teacher, a guide, and even a friend. It calls us to see ourselves clearly, to confront our deepest fears, and to emerge stronger, more resilient, and more aligned with our true purpose. In understanding the purpose behind pain, we start to see it not as an enemy to be defeated, but as a part of life's journey that can, if we allow it, lead us toward a richer, more fulfilled existence. Learning resilience through adversity is a profound, transformative journey, one that requires us to engage with life's difficulties in ways that reveal our inner strength and endurance. Resilience isn't something we're born with, it's a skill we develop, often because we have no other choice. It's the result of facing setbacks, hardship, disappointments, and even moments of deep despair, and choosing each time to get back up and try again. Adversity is the crucible where resilience is formed. When life goes smoothly, we rarely feel the need to dig deep or stretch ourselves. But when we encounter challenges that seem insurmountable, we're pushed into uncharted territory within ourselves. We discover that resilience isn't about pretending things aren't hard, nor is it about denying our pain. Resilience is about finding a way to move forward, even when everything feels uncertain, even when the path ahead looks dark and intimidating. It's about acknowledging our struggles, facing our fears, and trusting that we can find a way through, even if we can't yet see it. Adversity also teaches us that resilience isn't always about bouncing back quickly or getting over what's happened. Sometimes resilience means sitting with discomfort, allowing ourselves to feel the weight of our experiences, and choosing to keep going despite it all. There are moments in life where moving forward isn't a leap, but a small, cautious step. In these moments, resilience is found in the quiet determination to keep putting one foot in front of the other. It's about patience and persistence, recognizing that progress may be slow, but trusting that, with time, we will emerge stronger on the other side. Resilience through adversity teaches us about adaptability. When we face hardships, the plans we once had for ourselves may fall apart. We may have to give up dreams or change directions. This can be painful and disorienting, but it's also an invitation to grow. Adversity teaches us to let go of rigid expectations and to embrace change, even when it's uncomfortable. It shows us that we are capable of adjusting, of finding new paths, and of redefining our goals. We learn to adapt not because we want to, but because life demands it. And in adapting, we discover that we're far more flexible, resourceful, and courageous than we knew. Through adversity, we also learn about our own capacity for endurance. Resilience doesn't mean that the journey is easy or painless. It means we learn how to bear the weight of life's hardships without being crushed by them. Each experience of adversity stretches our endurance, revealing layers of strength that we may not have tapped into before. We come to realize that we can handle far more than we once thought. Adversity teaches us that while we may feel broken at times, we can also put ourselves back together piece by piece. We learn that we can survive setbacks, heartache, and failure, and not only survive, but continue to grow and thrive. Another aspect of resilience that adversity teaches us is the power of perspective. When we go through difficult times, we gain a clearer understanding of what truly matters in life. We realize that so many things we once worried about or chased after may not be as important as we thought. Adversity has a way of stripping away the trivial, allowing us to see life with a renewed sense of clarity and gratitude. We come to value our relationships, our health, and our own inner peace in ways we might not have appreciated before. In this way, adversity sharpens our focus, grounding us in what is meaningful and helping us let go of what no longer serves us. In learning resilience through adversity, we also gain the gift of empathy. When we've been through hard times, we develop a deeper understanding of the struggles that others face. Our own pain connects us to the shared human experience, and we become more compassionate, more understanding, and more willing to support those who are going through their own challenges. This empathy enriches our relationships and allows us to show up for others in ways that only someone who has known hardship can. Adversity softens our hearts, making us more open, more compassionate, and more connected to others. Lastly, adversity teaches us the art of self-belief. When we face challenges and persevere, we come to understand that we are more resilient than we ever realized. We learn to trust ourselves, to believe in our own ability to navigate the storms of life. This self-belief isn't about arrogance, it's about knowing, on a deep and unshakable level, that we have the strength to handle whatever comes our way. It's about carrying within us the quiet confidence that no matter how hard things get, we will find a way through. In the end, resilience isn't about never falling, it's about finding the strength to rise time and again. It's about becoming the kind of person who is shaped, but not defeated by life's trials. Through adversity, we learn that we are stronger, more adaptable, and more courageous than we ever imagined. We emerge from hardship with a sense of inner strength that no one can take away. This is the power of resilience, a power that we build brick by brick as we face life's challenges with courage, patience, and hope. Finding the gift in hardship is not an easy task. It requires a willingness to look beyond immediate suffering and search for something deeper. When we're in the midst of hardship, it's natural to feel overwhelmed by pain or frustration, to wonder why life has dealt us a difficult hand. Yet, if we can pause and shift our perspective, hardship often reveals gifts that, though hidden, can transform us in profound ways. It's in these moments of struggle that we have the opportunity to discover strength, wisdom, and insights that might not have come to us any other way. One of the first gifts hardship offers is a new depth of self-understanding. Hardship strips away illusions about who we are and forces us to confront our true selves. When we face challenges, our vulnerabilities, strengths, and fears are laid bare. We begin to see parts of ourselves that we might have overlooked or denied. Perhaps we realize we're braver than we thought, that we have a resilience we hadn't tapped into, or that we've been neglecting something essential about our character. Hardship, as painful as it can be, holds up a mirror, inviting us to look honestly at who we are and who we want to become. Another gift of hardship is a clarified sense of purpose and priorities. When life is going smoothly, we often drift along, taking things for granted or filling our lives with things that don't truly matter. But hardship has a way of cutting through the noise, revealing what is genuinely important. In the face of loss, disappointment, or failure, we begin to see with greater clarity. We realize that the things we thought were essential might not be as critical as we once believed. Hardship teaches us to prioritize our relationships, our health, our peace of mind, and our true passions. We begin to let go of superficial concerns and instead focus on what brings meaning and fulfillment to our lives. Hardship also offers the gift of compassion and empathy. When we go through difficulties, we come to understand on a visceral level what it means to struggle. This personal experience of pain allows us to connect with others who are suffering in a way that is real and genuine. We learn to be more compassionate, more patient, and more understanding. Hardship breaks down the barriers between us and others, making us realize that we are all connected by our shared experiences of joy and pain. The empathy we gain from our struggles makes us better friends, family members, and human beings. It allows us to show up for others with an open heart, offering support and understanding that only someone who has experienced hardship can provide. In addition to empathy, hardship brings the gift of resilience. It teaches us how to endure, how to adapt, and how to keep moving forward even when times are tough. Each time we face a challenge, we learn new ways to cope, new strategies for dealing with adversity, and new reasons to believe in our own strength. Resilience isn't something we're born with, it's something we develop bit by bit as we navigate life's trials. Hardship forces us to dig deep, to find strength we didn't know we had, and to build a foundation of resilience that will support us through future challenges. Hardship also helps us cultivate gratitude. When we experience loss or hardship, we become acutely aware of the things we might have taken for granted. Perhaps it's our health, our relationships, or the simple joys of everyday life. Hardship reminds us of how precious these things are, of how fragile and fleeting they can be. As a result, we begin to appreciate the good in our lives more deeply. We savor the moments of joy, however small, and we recognize the blessings that remain even in times of difficulty. This sense of gratitude doesn't erase our pain, but it allows us to see that there is beauty and goodness even in the darkest of times. Another profound gift of hardship is personal growth. Hardship forces us to evolve, to adapt, and to become more resilient versions of ourselves. It stretches us, pushing us out of our comfort zones and challenging us to rise to the occasion. In this way, hardship becomes a catalyst for growth, a force that propels us toward becoming the person we're meant to be. We learn lessons we might not have learned otherwise, lessons about patience, endurance, courage, and self-acceptance. We discover strengths we didn't know we had, and we gain a deeper understanding of our own capacities. Hardship can also bring us closer to a sense of faith or a higher power, whatever that may mean for each of us. When we reach the limits of our own control, when we're pushed to the edge of what we can handle, we may find comfort in something greater than ourselves. For some, hardship opens the door to spirituality, a deeper trust in life's unfolding, or a sense of connection to something beyond the material world. This experience of surrender, of letting go of the need to control everything, can bring a sense of peace and a newfound faith in the journey. Finally, hardship teaches us the power of resilience and renewal. It shows us that even after the most challenging of times, we can rebuild. Life has a remarkable way of renewing itself, of bringing new opportunities, new relationships, and new chapters when we least expect them. Hardship reminds us that endings are not always final, that there is often a second chance, a fresh start, or a new beginning waiting for us just around the corner. This gift of renewal brings hope, showing us that life is full of possibilities, even after the hardest moments. So finding the gift in hardship is not about denying the pain or pretending everything is fine. It's about looking deeper, about recognizing that hardship has the power to shape us, to teach us, and to reveal things we might never have discovered otherwise. When we are open to the lessons of hardship, we transform our suffering into strength, our pain into purpose, and our challenges into opportunities for growth. In this way, hardship becomes more than just something to endure. It becomes a doorway to a richer, more compassionate, and more resilient life. Letting suffering transform you rather than define you is a powerful act of resilience and choice. Suffering is an inevitable part of life, and while it can be painful and all-consuming, it doesn't have to become the foundation of who we are. Instead, we can choose to allow suffering to shape us, to teach us, and to lead us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. This path doesn't erase the pain, but it ensures that the pain contributes to our growth rather than limiting us to our wounds. When suffering occurs, it's natural to feel as though it has taken over our identity. In moments of deep hardship, it's easy to start defining ourselves by our wounds, by what we have lost, or by the ways we have been hurt. Suffering often blindsides us, distorting our sense of self and coloring the way we view the world. Yet we have the choice to respond differently. Instead of letting suffering dictate who we are, we can choose to engage with it consciously, allowing it to teach us something valuable. This process requires us to look at our pain honestly, to feel it fully, and to ask ourselves how we can grow from it. Rather than letting suffering become a label or a permanent part of our identity, we can let it be a chapter, a difficult, transformative chapter in our lives that ultimately enriches our journey. To let suffering transform us, we must first embrace it with acceptance. This doesn't mean we welcome suffering, but rather that we acknowledge it instead of fighting or suppressing it. When we accept suffering, we open ourselves to understanding it. We begin to see what it's trying to tell us, what aspects of our lives it's illuminating, and where it may be pushing us to evolve. Acceptance is the starting point, and it allows us to engage with suffering in a way that's constructive rather than letting it weigh us down or define us. Suffering has a unique way of teaching us lessons that we might not learn otherwise. Through suffering, we develop resilience, patience, and empathy. Each painful experience pushes us to dig deep within ourselves, to find strength and resolve we might not have known existed. Suffering forces us to confront our fears, to question our values, and to examine our priorities. It strips away the superficial, leaving us with a clearer view of what truly matters. The transformation that comes from suffering, then, is one of growth and clarity. We begin to see ourselves as more complex, more resilient beings who are capable of enduring hardship while still moving forward with purpose. Allowing suffering to transform us also involves finding meaning in our pain. While not all suffering is purposeful, we can choose to make meaning out of it. This doesn't mean that we romanticize suffering or pretend it's a gift. Instead, it's about choosing to extract valuable insights from the experience. Perhaps suffering teaches us to be more compassionate to others who are struggling. Perhaps it gives us a new perspective on life, one that prioritizes joy and gratitude. By finding meaning in our suffering, we make the experience an integral part of our growth, rather than a mark that diminishes our worth. This meaning can serve as a source of strength, giving us a sense of purpose that carries us forward. Transformation through suffering also requires the courage to let go of the past. Suffering often binds us to painful memories and emotions that can become a prison if we allow them to. Letting suffering transform us rather than define us means gradually releasing our attachment to the pain. We acknowledge what happened, we feel it deeply, and then we begin to let it go, piece by piece. This process takes time and it's not easy, but it's essential for true transformation. When we let go, we free ourselves from being tied to that suffering. We honor the lessons, we carry forward the strength we've gained, but we allow ourselves to grow beyond the pain. Another essential part of allowing suffering to transform us is learning to rewrite our own narratives. Rather than seeing ourselves as victims of our suffering, we can choose to see ourselves as survivors, as people who have overcome challenges and emerged stronger. This shift in perspective is empowering. It reminds us that while suffering may have been part of our journey, it doesn't dictate our future. We have the power to tell our story in a way that reflects our growth and resilience rather than in a way that keeps us stuck in the past. Rewriting our narrative allows us to see ourselves not as people defined by what we have endured, but as people who have learned, adapted, and thrived because of it. Suffering, when embraced as a path to transformation, can deepen our connection to others. Pain has a way of breaking down barriers, of reminding us of our shared humanity. When we go through suffering, we gain a profound understanding of what it means to struggle, and this understanding connects us to others who are suffering as well. This connection fosters empathy and compassion, allowing us to offer genuine support and understanding to those around us. We come to realize that we are not alone in our pain, and that through supporting others, we find healing for ourselves. In this way, suffering transforms us into more compassionate, open-hearted individuals who contribute to the well-being of those around us. Finally, letting suffering transform us means embracing hope and healing. It means trusting that no matter how deep the pain, there is always a possibility for renewal. Transformation through suffering doesn't mean that we will never feel pain again. It means we learn to trust our own resilience, knowing that we can find a way to heal and move forward. It means embracing the idea that life, with all its ups and downs, offers us opportunities to grow. We begin to see suffering as a teacher, a part of life that, while painful, is not our ultimate story. We move forward with a sense of purpose, carrying the lessons we've learned, but not allowing them to limit who we are or who we can become. When we allow suffering to transform us rather than define us, we reclaim our power. We take ownership of our journey, choosing growth over stagnation, purpose over bitterness, and resilience over despair. Suffering becomes a part of our story, not the entirety of it, but a chapter that adds depth, wisdom, and strength to our lives. We emerge from hardship with a renewed sense of self, one that honors what we've endured but is not limited by it. This transformation is an act of courage, a testament to the strength of the human spirit, and a reminder that no matter what we go through, we always have the power to choose growth, healing, and hope.